Now look at us. We rising up. You don't really know I shine. Me, I got something that I need to prove. I cannot lose, nah. Everything I do that really is news. You look confused, why? You are what you choosing to do. Me, I've been making the moves, paying my dues, getting this done with the fam. Y'all know that I am the dude. Bend that low, hit that high, got that hustle, got that drive. One more time, best alive. I want it all, everything mine.
Welcome back to the Football Forecast, man. Y'all already know what time it is. We got Week 8 on the horizon. But real quick, man, we got to take a look back at Week 7, and I'm not going to go through each and every single game. But God bless, it was a brutal, brutal week. But not for gambling, that's for damn sure. I went 10-5 against the spread and 3-1 picking moneyline underdogs, which is a ridiculous clip. Thank God that I weigh my bets the way that I do, because I know that I struggle with over-unders. Still came out well ahead, so I was worried about my confidence level last week, but shit, ain't nothing to worry about. In this video, I'm just going to recap all of Week 7. There's 10 primary injuries that I want to look at and what their implications are going to be, man. But just to let you all know how football works, okay? In the fourth quarter, a minute and 50 seconds is a decade for a team that's as explosive as the Buccaneers are. Not to mention, the Ravens just give up a onside kick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Baltimore Ravens are the only team in the NFL who've given up multiple onside kicks, okay? So in a two-score game with a minute and 50 seconds left, Baker Mayfield, by the way, completed his fucking pass to Chris Godwin. It's about a 30-yard gain, okay? They're literally 2 or 3 plays away from getting in the end zone again, okay? At that point of the game, Baltimore was just relaxed, man. They were way too relaxed. And everybody's talking about, why is he in the game? Why is he in the game? Because we can win the fucking ball game. That's why, okay? So for those of you who think that it was garbage time and that he was out of it, they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. They literally were within striking distance to get it to a one-possession ball game with a chance at another onside kick. And who knows what happens after that, okay? So, fact of the matter is, man, I love Todd Bowles' response. Man, this is football. Baker wanted to be out there. Chris Godwin wanted to be out there. At the end of the day, man, shit happens, and you feel for the guy, okay? But we're trying to win a fucking ball game here. All right, man, so first off, let's just go ahead and talk about Chris Godwin, okay? So he dislocated his ankle is what it was first projected as. I think that there's going to be a lot more ligament damage than just like a simple dislocation. But it was ugly, man. You could tell all the players' reactions, dude. But what impact does this have? Basically, at this point, especially with Mike Evans re-aggravating a hamstring injury, and to be honest with you, Mike Evans is one that I thought shouldn't have been out there, okay? They could have won or been competitive in that football game without Mike Evans. And I know that sounds crazy considering how good he is. It's not disrespectful to Mike Evans. And yeah, he caught a 25-yard touchdown pass to start the game off. Cool. The point is, frankly, I thought that Mike Evans shouldn't have been in the game to begin with. Man, he was really nursing that hamstring injury after the first touchdown. That's where he got his 100th receiving touchdown of his career, man. It should have stopped right there, okay? He was clearly not himself after that play, and you just can't risk continuing to damage something that you already know is damaged for one of your premier guys like a Mike Evans, okay? In the Chris Godwin situation, totally different. The man is healthy, and there is a freak injury. Two totally different situations, okay? But what you've got to do now is you've got to go add Sterling Shepard, and you've got to add that rookie Jalen McMillan, okay? Jalen McMillan in that football game had 8 targets, only 3 receptions. All week long, him and Baker are going to get on the same page because the future, the season of the Buccaneers depends on it. This is a team that knows that they have to score because they can't lean on their defense when times get tough offensively. Jalen McMillan and Sterling Shepard are going to be on the same page with Baker Mayfield. So you got to go get those two guys, man. This is still going to be a pass-heavy offense. The second one that was pretty brutal this weekend was DeShawn Watson. Obviously, unfortunate way to go out despite how bad he's playing. People forget about the player and aren't able to separate it from the man. And what most people aren't going to tell you is that DeShawn Watson was actually playing pretty good in that game before he got hurt. And one of the worst things in football is when a guy gets a non-contact injury like DeShawn Watson did, man. He's just trying to burst into a run and it snaps on him. And I don't know if it's the food. I don't know if it's the field. I don't know what the answers are. But I've never seen this many non-contact Achilles tears. An Achilles tear growing up is something that was like you only saw in like a horror movie and you could not imagine like the pain of that. And it seems like these guys are just snapping Achilles left and right like it's a jam finger, okay? I don't know what's going on, but some shit's got to change. With that being said, Dorian Thompson-Robinson came in out of UCLA. He's okay, but I really was shocked that they moved Jameis Winston down to the third string. I know that he's a little bit of a weirdo and a fucking goofball licking on his fingers and shit. But despite being a complete goofball, man, he's been around. He's a veteran in the game at this point, man. He knows what to do. Dorian Thompson-Robinson might be something in this league down the line. But like right now, Jameis Winston's at a stage of his career. If you're not using him as your second string emergency quarterback when your franchise quarterback goes down, then why is he on your roster? Because he's not a guy for the future. So why wouldn't you lean on your veteran in that circumstance? Don't get it, but either way, Dorian Thompson-Robinson goes into that game and then he gets hurt as well. So Jameis Winston is posed to make his start this week. I don't know what that's going to do for your fantasy teams as far as, weapons and stuff goes. To be completely honest with you, I wouldn't start anybody on this Cleveland Browns offense, not named Nick Chubb or David Njoku. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure where David Njoku's at from a health standpoint, but just for information purposes, something for you to think about if you were considering streaming Jerry Jeudy or somebody like that, man. Jameis Winston's definitely going to start this week. Brandon Aiyuk blew basically everything out in his leg. He's done for the year, ACL, MCL. He's out for the season. And this is a guy that I've kind of been on since the beginning of the season. Okay, you go from the holdout situation to where, he demands a trade and then he's not getting what he wants from these other places, or they're not in the right situation. They don't have a quarterback that's worthy, whatever the case may be. He ends up going back to the 49ers. Takes way too long to sign a deal that basically hadn't changed the offer did not get any juicier for him for months. So he ends up going back after just basically wasting everybody's fucking time and getting a lot of people's hopes up from around the league. And then despite all that, he's had issues at practice, issues in the locker room. Him and Kyle Shanahan clearly have butted heads several times. He hasn't looked good in the fucking games. Duh. When you're not at practice, you miss all that camp. Basically, the motherfucker didn't want to practice. And there's no other way to slice it, okay? He didn't want to put in the work, and it's evident. And then what that leads to is exactly what the fuck you see. He has a rough start to his season statistically, not open, not on the same page with Purdy, and then because he hasn't been grinding physically, he gets roughed up and fucking blows his leg out, okay? And I'm not saying that injuries don't happen to people that work out and work hard. Not saying that at all, okay? But there's something to be said about a callus that your body builds up when you are going through contact often. Like, when contact for your body is routine, it handles those impacts a lot better. I'm not a doctor, but I listen to a lot of people that are doctors, and they will tell you that when the body is just not used to something and it bends a certain way, it hasn't bent in a while or ever, yeah, it's going to give out on you. So, unfortunate for him, man, but what this means for your fantasy team is that you've got to go add Jawan Jennings. Everybody jumped on Jawan Jennings when he had a game, I think week 2 or week 3, where he had over 100 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. And since then, he's kind of been hit or miss. Debo's battling injuries seeming like every week. Kittle's questionable. Brandon Aiyuk's out for the season. So Jawan Jennings, who's been injured, he's looking to return. And then you also need to go get Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall, if you remember, he's the one that got shot before the season started. I cannot believe that he's already playing again, but he did make a debut last week. He went straight in, got straight into the mix. He had 5 targets, only caught 3 of them. But he's a guy that's going to be a part of the game plan, so he's definitely a guy that needs to be on your roster if you are somebody that lost Godwin or you lost Brandon Aiyuk this week, okay? So go get those guys. Then Juju, SmithSchuster, and Mike Evans are both questionable. I doubt that either one of them plays. I haven't read too much into Juju's situation, but Mike Evans should definitely not fucking play this week. But regardless, man, what this means is that, and we've already talked about the Bucks receivers, but basically on the Chiefs side, man, this means that you need to go add D-Hop and you need to go add Xavier Worthy if possible. I have seen a number of people this season dropping Xavier Worthy and DeAndre Hopkins, okay? If you look at all the attrition that the Chiefs have had offensively, Xavier Worthy just still has not developed a routine, consistent role in the Chiefs offense. He's still that flash in a pan guy, that boom or bust guy. And for me as a fantasy manager, I want to see consistency. I want to see consistent targets, okay? This is honestly, with Juju just carrying the load for this Chiefs offense, with him being injured now, if Xavier Worthy is not clearly the go-to guy or one of the go-to guys, if it's not made a point to get Xavier Worthy the football this weekend, I'm going to try to shop Xavier Worthy. I own Xavier Worthy in a lot of leagues, but I've seen people in other leagues dropping him, okay? DeAndre Hopkins is also another guy that I've seen people drop, okay? Most people didn't give up on Calvin Ridley yet in Tennessee, but with their quarterback situation, I've seen people get rid of D-Hop. So if you haven't already, or if he's available, or if you're considering cooking up some sort of trade in your league, man, go get those 2 guys. Then Cooper Kupp is expected to make his return tonight, Thursday Night Football. They're playing the Minnesota Vikings. And this is amidst a lot of trade rumors that are taking place, one of the landing spots being Pittsburgh. Cooper Kupp in Pittsburgh does make a hell of a lot of sense. It really does. But as of right now, he's expected to play Thursday night, tonight, against the Minnesota Vikings. From an implication standpoint, we all know who Cooper Kupp is. But this actually makes me like Tutu Atwell even more, okay? When you look at Tutu Atwell in this offense, he's been Stafford's go-to guy over the last few weeks. Everybody thought that it was going to be Tyler Johnson. Everybody thought that it was going to be Demarcus Robinson. And Tutu Atwell out of Louisville, he has looked pretty damn good in the passing game, man. Stafford is looking to get him the ball. He's a priority target for him. And if you're telling me that all eyes are going to be on Cooper Kupp and you still have Tutu Atwell out there healthy, yeah, I like that a lot, okay? All right, moving on. Andy Dalton was hurt this week in a car wreck. This was news that come out yesterday, and it's already been announced that Bryce Young's going to be returning back to the lineup. And my first thought, honestly, was, okay, let's see what he's got now, right? He's seen Andy Dalton in the lineup. He's seen how he's operated. He's seen how he conducted himself. He's seen how he's checked and moved the offense around. He's seen how he makes reads. He sees how he goes through the progressions. He sees how he changed plays, the cadence, the whole 9 yards. He's seen a veteran at work, and he's seen at least glimpses of what this offense could be. And maybe that's just what Bryce Young needed to see before going back in. And then I looked at the schedule, and I had a second thought, man. And my second thought was that this could not have come at a worse time. Okay, this week they're going to the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are definitely a top 3 defense in the NFL, rushing and passing. They are fucking good. They're aggressive. And when they're staring down Bryce Young instead of Andy Dalton, the heat is coming, okay? Bryce Young was the most sacked quarterback through 3 weeks for a reason. He does not make quick decisions. Honestly, he looks like he's 5'6" out there when you've got 6'6", 6'7" offensive linemen in front of you. You have to move to literally see down the football field. Everybody around him is at least 5 to 6 inches taller than him, if not more. And that's a real thing. And when you couple that with he's already not too confident. Drew Brees, what made him great is that he knew exactly where everybody was going to be. He could close his fucking eyes and throw the ball where it needed to be. On time. Boom, 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 step, blow. Now, obviously with his eyes closed, he couldn't read a defense, but the ball was going to come out on time and be put on his receiver. He didn't really need to see. Bryce Young has clearly not gotten to that level yet, okay? If you are starting Deontay Johnson, if you're looking to stream Xavier Legette, okay, if you have Chuba Hubbard, just stay away from all of them this week, okay? It's going to get ugly in Denver. Tua is expected to come back this week, week 8. Man, I'm proud of this guy, you know? So this is a guy who could have walked away from football and nobody would have blamed him, okay? You've got all the soccer moms that go on TV, on the fucking View and Good Morning America and shit, talking about how, I can't believe the NFL's going to let him back in the game. That's what football players fucking do, okay? They're a special breed. They're different than you are, honey, okay? If a doctor clears them to play, they're going to fucking play. That's what they do. Not only is it their livelihood, it is their entire being. It's who they identify as, okay? It's not a job for them. It's their fucking life. People don't understand this. When you are a football player, you're built different, okay? For the most part. Most of these dudes are just fucking built different. And if a doctor says you can play, then you fucking play. And it's just that simple. And I'm proud of Tua for standing on business and just saying it's a personal decision when he was asked why he's returning or, you know, whatever the case. I forget how the question was phrased, but basically just said, look, I'm playing and I'm not wearing a Guardian cap. It's a personal decision for me. I respect it. Nobody else needs to know anything else other than that. Man, I'm a football player and doctor says I'm good. I'm good. Whatever ramifications this has for him mentally and physically down the line, man, we could very well see a decline into a one day mentally, but we might see that already down the line anyways. But for right now, while he's young and he can still run and gun, the guy wants to play football. And it's just that simple. So I'm proud of him for standing on business, man, and sticking to his guns. But basically, if you're a fantasy manager that owns Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle or any of the running backs for Miami, you should be tickled to death because all of them are immediately fantasy relevant again. I've never really been huge on Jalen Waddle, but I think with the dynamic of Tua coming in and being able to throw the ball down the football field, you're going to see a hell of a lot less players in the box. You're going to see a hell of a lot less defensive linemen. You're going to see a hell of a lot less blitzing. So that's going to open up the ground game even more. The pass game is going to be possible again because it was literally impossible for them to throw the football the last couple of weeks. So if you're a fantasy manager there, man, you should be tickled to death. Jaden Daniels, it injured his ribs. He's questionable to return this week. Coach already come out and said that he's week to week. Honestly, I don't play him. They are in a phenomenal spot to make the playoffs. At the end of the day, you just got to get in the playoffs. I know that they want to win their division, and I want them to win their division, okay? But as of right now, they are sitting in a comfortable position where they can give this man 1 week to rest up, okay? 1 week. We're not at the stage of the season where 1 week or one game is going to make or break. What happens if Jaden Daniels plays and goes from maybe a bruise or whatever, a tender rib area to a fractured rib area? Now you're looking at multiple weeks, and multiple weeks could definitely have implications that are going to take you out of the playoff hunt. So I would not expect him to play. Last week he went out after only playing 10 snaps, and Marcus Mariota come in and did okay. He looked pretty good. And honestly, they're playing Chicago, okay? Chicago's got a fucking tremendous defense, okay? You don't want to put Jaden Daniels in against a defense like the Chicago Bears, who are going to come down and hit you in the fucking mouth. And Jaden Daniels is probably not going to be able to take it out of his head that I'm not going to run the football today. I'm going to sit back in the pocket and try to nurse this rib injury. He's a football player. When he sees it open up, his instincts are going to kick in and he's going to go for it. But Chicago's not the fucking team to do that against, man. Let Marcus Mariota go out there. Let him be the tackling dummy. Let him try to run this offense, and you just rest up this week, man. That is exactly what I would expect. And lastly, man, Derek Carr's returned to practice. He's still limited at practice, but he has began throwing again. Spencer Rattler's expected to start again this week. Chris Olave is still on the injury report as questionable, and obviously Rashid Shaheed is done. So their top two weapons are out. Spencer Rattler's expected to be in. If there was a week where I would expect Alvin Kamara to get moved, it would definitely be next week. They have to have him this week in the game or they've got zero chance. And when you consider the way that they at least started the season, this team still has playoff aspirations, so they're going to want to keep their pieces intact at least this week. So as far as, you know, their other weapons, man, Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson, their tight ends, I like these guys, but I don't think that they're fantasy starts or fantasy stream options. The Bub Means kid come in, he did okay, but from a fantasy standpoint, Spencer Rattler's done a decent job, all things considered. I mean, he, in all fairness, played against the Kansas City Chiefs, who's fucking one of the best defenses in the NFL. You know, if he's played against that, then he can go against anybody at this point. But from a fantasy standpoint, man, I don't think that Spencer Rattler or any of these weapons are going to be serviceable for you. So, I mean, if you're an Alvin Kamara owner, you got to start him. You have no other choice. But, man, those are the injuries from Week 7. Some of them are brutal. Some of them are worse than others, man. Luckily, there are pretty decent options still out there. But, man, honestly, I just hope that these guys get back into the game soon because football's better for it. Football's more exciting for it. The fans obviously want the best for these guys. We want to see all the best athletes on the planet playing in the games. Man, I wish that injuries were not something that happened, but attrition's something that you got to battle. So, man, it is what it is. Anyways, man, I hope that tonight's game between the Rams and the Vikings is a banger, dude. I hope that everybody stays healthy, man. We don't need another primetime injury. So I hope all is well, man, and I'm looking forward to an exciting football game tonight. I've got some prop bets that I'm going to release in a short video coming out today. But the next video that y'all get from me, which I'm getting ready to start on, is my picks from Week 8. So I'm going to start giving you all the picks earlier in the week. That's going to be pretty much the first thing that I do each and every week. So I've already made all my picks, all my bets, all my selections. Now it's time to reveal them to you, man. So I appreciate y'all stopping in. This is the Football Forecast, man. Peace.
How you play the game with the people that writing the rules. Ain't the fame that I'm after when paying the dues. I've been through the pain that's reflected in the attitude. Might be winning now, but the thing is that I had to lose. So go and tell me what you really want to do. And lonely at the top, cause there ain't a lot of room. Ain't no other option, that's all I ever knew. So I'ma get it poppin', you know how I'ma do. Up and down through the blood and the sweat. Guarantee you can know I'm a threat. Up and down.